Let me know. Good evening. Welcome to the April 10th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. Welcome to you all. If you take the roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Strongman?
Here.
Commissioner Kwok?
Here.
Commissioner Ward?
Here.
Commissioner Klopp?
Here.
Vice Chair Needing?
Here.
Chair Anderson?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you much. Do we have a consent calendar?
We do not.
Okay. But I won't ask if anyone would like to remove anything from it. The next item is item 3 on the agenda is public communications. There are 2 opportunities to speak at the meeting this evening. One is when a hearing comes up, you can speak on that matter. If you have anything to discuss with the Planning Commission that is within our jurisdiction but not on the agenda tonight, That's what the public communication period right now is for. If you want to speak at either time, there are speaker cards in the back that you can fill out and bring those with you when you come to the microphone. All right. Are there any public comments? Seeing none. Move on to disclosure of ex parte communications. Anybody? One? No? On with that. Moving right along to the public hearing. Staff to present the staff report on the UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital temporary MRI trailer application.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Jessica Gonzalez, Senior Planner, and I will be presenting the Special Use Permit Y25006. And before we get started, just some housekeeping, really 2 points of clarification and revisions to the draft resolution. The documents refer to the facility as the UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. However, the actual full name of the facility is the Walnut Creek Pediatric Outpatient Center of UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. Additionally, staff recommends a SUP timeframe of 18 months. However, the expiration date noted in draft condition 5 reflects 30 months. That should be corrected to October 2026 instead of October 2027. Should the Planning Commission approve, those 2 revisions should be made. Moving into the project location, project is located at 2401 Shadelands Drive. It is surrounded by other like medical and research and development facilities, and the site itself is zoned PD 1960 under the Business Park General Plan designation. Getting into the application, the PD for the property refers to the Business Park Zoning District, which technically does prohibit vehicle-based uses. However, the city has historically issued special use permits or SUPs to allow temporary uses such as vehicle storage, MRI trailers, and other like uses on a temporary basis. With that, the applicant is requesting a temporary SUP to allow an MRI trailer to operate within the site parking lot while their interior MRI suite is being renovated. Some details on the proposal. As I mentioned, the proposal is to utilize the MRI trailer within the parking lot of the facility with a request of 12 months. However, staff is recommending 18 months just to ensure if there's any construction delays that services will be available. The trailer would occupy approximately 28 parking spaces within the facility, and hours of operation would pretty much reflect that of the medical facility Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So here is a site plan on the screen, really just showing the entire site. The facility is noted on the screen, as well as surrounding parking areas, and the MRI area shaded in gray is outlined in green lines. Here's just a more detailed view of the MRI layout. The red dashed line shows the proposed perimeter barrier, which would secure the area. As I mentioned, 28 parking stalls are included within this area. They would be temporarily blocked off. And as discussed in the report, the applicant did provide a parking study which showed that even without the 28 spaces on average, there should be approximately 150 spaces. Thus, the available on-site parking should not be impacted. Getting into design, as I mentioned, there is a barrier proposed. And so with that, the applicant has included 2 design options. First being chain link fencing with vinyl wrap. Example is shown on the screen. The other option would be white water-filled K-rails around the area. And so staff is requesting the Planning Commission consider those options and provide some input. And here are the SUP findings on this screen. So the Planning Commission may approve an SUP subject to the findings of a conditional use permit and upon finding that the use provides a necessary service to the community. Staff believes that finding can be made as the temporary trailer would allow for the interior upgrades to a much-needed MRI suite, which provides critical imaging services to the community. And so here are the required CUP findings. Again, staff believes these can be made as the MRI medical trailer is consistent with other uses in the area, and the perimeter fencing provides safety measures, ensuring that the use would not be detrimental to the public health or safety. And so with that, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission move to adopt the draft resolution in Attachment 1, approving the SUP, allowing the temporary MRI trailer at 2401 Shadelands. And it has also come to my attention that the applicant is proposing a vinyl wrap around the trailer, which they will be sharing with you tonight. Thank you.
Any questions of staff? All right. Commissioner Strongman.
Yes, quick question. It wasn't clear to me reading through it whether does the patients and staff have direct access from the building into the trailer, or do they have to kind of wander around the trailer?
Let me go to some site pictures that I took. So this, the area on the left side of the screen generally shows, or that's the general area where the MRI suite or trailer will be located. And then I did take a picture of the walkway. So this on the screen is the general walkway between the building and the MRI trailer that will be parked in the parking spaces. And this is the door that I believe will be utilized to get them there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And second question, the vinyl wrap proposed in our documentation, is that exactly what's going to be proposed, or is that just similar, something like that?
I believe that's exactly what will be proposed, but we
Okay.
can also just confirm with the applicant.
Thank you. No further questions.
Anyone else? No. All right, thank you. Open the public hearing, and the applicant has 10 minutes to say whatever you'd like, or anything less than that.
Well, Jessica did a great job covering everything, so I think there's not very much for me to say. I'll introduce myself. Good evening, and thank you for your time today. I'm Michael Valero, the Construction Project Manager for UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital, doing the MRI replacement project here at Walnut Creek. So as UCSF looks to keep innovation and technology at the cutting edge, we are replacing our in-house MRI. To maintain the continuity of service for this community, we are proposing the mobile trailer, as you've seen and is in your packet here. Shows the orientation as it relates to the building. And we do anticipate to finish in the time that Jessica has outlined. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to field them. But before I do, I'd like to introduce to you Liz for some additional comments. So, any questions for me?
Go ahead.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Michael. I'm Liz Epstein, and I work on special projects and particularly entitlements-related aspects of those projects, so in Oakland, now in Walnut Creek. So thank you very much for having us here tonight, and Jessica, thank you very much for all your work on this. So as Michael indicated, we have an MRI suite now in the outpatient clinic here, and that is at the end of life at this point. And so we are in a position of really needing to replace that, and we are prepared to replace that and have the equipment. But as is obvious, during that turnover, we would not be able to have MRI services here. And so we would very much like to continue to be able to provide those services during the period of the changeover. We have We have procured a trailer with a 1.5T MRI that we are expecting delivery on in just a few weeks. And the request is to place that trailer, as you've seen described tonight, to have it essentially proximal to the building so that it's very easy to bring patients in and out. If they need to do preparation before this, if there's induction, this can happen in the building, and it's very convenient to be able to go outside and into this trailer. We're also intent on trying to make this a comfortable, friendly environment, and I don't know if any of you have had experience with kids having procedures. I must say that both of my children had MRIs in this building multiple times. And so part of what we're looking at is trying to create a sort of a soft environment for helping the patients and, frankly, their adults to feel comfortable with having this service in a trailer itself. So let's see, can I advance this? Check this out. So again, as I just indicated, that this is a bridge proposal. The trailer would be here for, thank you for the 18-month allowance. We are really intent on this being much shorter than that, and we do also have a need for this to come to Oakland afterwards. So we have lots of incentive to try to not have this be a lengthy stay. Just to focus in a little more, the area that is outlined as the area to be cordoned off, either with fencing or with K-rail, and we'd very much like to hear what your interest and preference is there, creates a fairly wide buffer around the trailer itself, and that is intended to make sure that any vibration from vehicles being driven in the parking lot is at a distance. We want to make sure that we don't have vibration that would impair the quality of the image. And so the recommendation from the manufacturer is to create this wide berth. Also, as some of you may be aware, that MRIs have sort of a magnetic field around them, and so this also keeps people who may have a pacemaker at a very good distance from the facility. It's a bigger buffer area than we would need for that purpose, but we do feel like this would be appropriate to make sure that we don't have the vibration that would impact the operations. So now to the aesthetic, which I do know that you care about quite a bit, and we do as well. So what we have proposed is a graphic that we are now using at the Oakland campus that literally it has not yet been, it's been in use for the first time just for a few weeks on that campus, and this is a newly developed themed graphic. We would propose to put this on the fence. I know that when I look at the materials that have been processed for other such temporary structures, that often you've looked toward neutrals. So I do realize that this is a different direction, and this is not something that's an essential for us to have, but the idea is that it would make for a more attractive visual for people who are approaching. And then set quite far behind this and close to the building would be the trailer itself. And I think, as is clear, the cab of the trailer will not be there. It's just the trailer itself. It'll be set down. That cab will go away until we come back to move it to Oakland. And as part of the manufacture of this, we have developed a wrap, a graphic wrap for the van itself. This is not absolutely precisely fitted to the template but it gives you an idea of what the intention was, and likely most of this would not be from the exterior very visible. You might see the blue section and above over the fence, depending on your perspective. But this would be very visible on the side where patients would enter. So the intention is to wrap it entirely. And when this moves to Oakland, we'll basically have that patient visibility on both sides. So there's a continuity of design here. That was the direction we're going, and we very much appreciate hearing what your priorities are and if this meets them, and if there are questions or concerns, to understand how we could address them.
Questions? Go ahead.
Thank you for that presentation. My children, too, have benefited from services at UCSF, including the Walnut Creek campus, so I do appreciate that. I have two different questions. First of all, I'm not a physician. My father is, and my son is, but apparently it was generation skipping in my family. So, so at the risk of sounding super foolish, you have, we've heard of some pretty spectacular MRI accidents and other things, that I know are very, very rare and, kind of, but you're moving from a building with a lot of structure to a trailer, and I'm wondering if that's a safe enough environment to have. I mean, I assume it is, but I wondered if you could speak to the safety of having that kind of equipment in a temporary trailer kind of environment.
Yes, I mean, it is, the shielding of it is very important. It's very important to us. And you would imagine that our attorneys are very concerned about it from perhaps a slightly different perspective, but we're very confident that that in this structure, that it is safe both for the patients, the providers, and for people who would be on the site, whether within that perimeter area, because our staff would be, or in the parking area on the site. So I appreciate the concern. We are very highly tuned to the safety, and that's really our priority with regard to this.
Great. I assumed it had occurred to you. I just thought I would ask for a little more detail, and I appreciate that. With regard to the two options of the chain link with the vinyl wrap versus the K-rail, do you have a preference? If you could have either one, what would you like?
I mean, I'm giving you a bit of personal preference here. I would prefer the screening of having the graphic wrap cover that 6-foot fence, so that to the outside world, you're not seeing the fencing. And to us, it is also an added layer helping to address patient privacy. So that would be the preference. If you really felt like the design was not where you wanted to go, that you wanted something that was more muted, or even a standard visqueen or something like that, I mean, we certainly could do that. We just thought that this would perhaps elevate this.
I mean, personally, I think the design you showed was adorable. I thought it was great, and I like the bright colors, and I think it's totally appropriate. I just wondered if that chain link fence provided enough protection from errant vehicles, and whether there was a concern and the K-rail would be preferred for that reason.
You know what we might really prefer to do is put the K-rail behind the chain link and have the wrap on the fencing, so that the K-rail would be visible from, the outside of that enclosure, but it's an extra layer of protection. I mean, we're very aware of sort of the added protection of the parking space, the stops at the edge of each of those. We would like to think that nobody would miss this there and run into it, but I think that that would be our sort of most, preferred approach to safety.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Clark. Oh, Commissioner Clark.
Okay. So, just to get a bit of perspective on the industry standards, so I'm, again, like Commissioner Ward, I'm not familiar with what's done in the industry. So when there are trailers that are, that have to move around and be at different places for availability and need, is the industry practice just to have K-rail as a sort of safeguard, or does it depend on the location?
Well, it really does depend on the location. There are places where it's not in the middle of a parking area, so there aren't vehicles that are moving around there, and so what the risk is different. So if we're talking about an area that is already protected behind fencing or some other barrier, and we don't expect that there would be heavy equipment or, any other sort of high-risk activity
Okay.
next to it, that would
Okay,
change what we need.
great. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, and thank you for being available for these questions. So I have a concern about only using the K-rail because it's low and people can climb over it. So I like as you were saying, the height and obscurity of the fence with the covering. And maybe if you choose to put the K-rail behind it, that's even more protection, I would agree. And I, like Commissioner Ward, love the colors, love the brightness, and love the theme, so I say go for it.
Great.
Commissioner Strongman.
A question about the vibrations. You were concerned about vibrations. You're real close to Ignatia Valley Road where a lot of heavy trucks are rumbling through. Will that impact it at all?
Not because the distance at which that happens. I know it seems like it's not that far, but our manufacturer is really confident that this placement will allow us to get very good, high-quality imaging.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Needham.
I'm looking at the placement of it. I'm sorry. I was so too far away. It almost seems like the end of those areas, you say turnaround stall, it's almost acting like a hammerhead. A hammer, okay.
Yes,
you
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. And so I kind of agree with everyone. It's almost like even just right there, you may want to have a bollard just to protect from, I don't, because that to me is when people are trying, right? Sometimes when there's a hammerhead, there's like always a curb or something to prevent a vehicle from, and then, I mean, the other thing that's great is that I'm looking at the measurements. It looks to be placed safely. I see that the connection interior of the building went straight out, so you're almost creating like an extension or meeting area of that. It's almost like part of the building. And then the distance away from, if anything should ever happen with the fire department, usually the hose is 150 feet in length, and it looks like you have less than that. So from a fire and safety perspective, it looks like you can easily get it with the hose. I think something to protect, because it is a turnaround from if someone's like upset or something driving, you're in a hospital, right? To not have them clip that. I agree with the noise and vibration. An acoustical study is not necessary for something like this, I would imagine. But yeah, to have that space would be great. And then I'm looking at the grading. It's a flat area. So from the grading,
Hallelujah.
the access, it looks like you guys kind of place it in this perfect little area, unless I'm missing something, but
No, you're right.
yeah.
Right.
Sorry, the engineer. That would just be my only thing, is like, just maybe think about something if that is acting like a hammerhead, which it looks like it is, and cars are, or maybe if BCAF engineers can do a quick little turnaround just to make sure when you're, in auto turn,
Yeah.
If you're backing up, you're not gonna hit that fence in that beautiful graphic, which I think the kids will like, because I think about my little babies. To not hit it and make sure that that's protected, because getting an MRI is not fun. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure that we can do that. We could either, we could use, some of the stops even, to just obstruct, so that if you have somebody who is not great at three-point turns. Yes.
We can put the wheel stops both on the exterior side of the fencing, and on the interior side, we can put K-rail as a hidden added layer of barrier between
Yeah.
the vehicle traffic lane.
And if BKF did the auto turn, you could easily see, or you can kind of tell, right, with your experience, like, that's where the car, when they're backing up, would turn, right, and then go straight out.
Three-point turn can be challenging against that fence.
Especially if you just got bad news.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping only for good news.
Yes.
Those are our preferred diagnostics.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I had some questions, but they all got answered, so. Hold on. Is there any public comment on this application? No. Okay. Very good. Then close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for a comment. Commissioner Strongman.
I'll start. I do like the graphic, the vinyl. I like to have the chain link fence with the graphic around it, but I would want to require that the K-rail be behind it. I'm too familiar with Walnut Creek drivers and their inability to drive in a parking lot. But other than that, I really like it and really approve the project.
Comments? Well, I will say that the only problem I can see with the graphic there is that these Walnut Creek drivers might get distracted by the butterflies and drive right through it. But and the other problem would be, of course, that children who are going not for an MRI would want to go to the pretty building instead of going into the, so, but I agree. It's a good solution. And having the K-rail behind it, I mean, that's up to you depends on how much you trust Walnut Creek drivers. And there may be visitors who are not from Walnut Creek. So. Any other comments? Does someone have a motion?
I'll make one for the last time here. I know. So I'd like to move that we approve the resolution with the corrections that were added to correct the name of the applicant and also to correct the duration to up to 18 months of this draft resolution regarding special use permit application number Y25-006, 2401 Shadelands Drive.
Second.
Through the chair, can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
If we do make a motion to approve the wrap, we'll also want to delete condition 4, which requires neutral paint.
Oh,
Oh.
okay, let's please delete that then, because we like the wrap.
I concur.
Good. No further comment on the motion? Would you call the roll?
Who's the second?
Mr. Strongman.
Okay. Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Strongman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kwok,
Yes.
Commissioner Klopp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Needing,
Yes.
Chair Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Very good. Thank you very much. Good luck with it. All right. The next item is commissioner considerations. I have a few housekeeping things. Does anybody else have anything to add? I'll come back to you.
Okay.
I can let you get it. There's just a couple of things. I'm going to do a few things a little bit differently than been done in the past. Mainly to encourage dialogue and actually to make it a little bit more efficient, I think. But a lot of these have to do with situations where we have lots of speakers or speakers. No, that's often the case if we don't here. My experience before was we had lots of speakers all the time. So it's probably on account of that I have these thoughts. One is speakers, they're obviously trained very well. I noticed during the pickleball discussion that when the 2 minutes, beeper went off, they pretty much stopped you know, sometimes in the middle of a sentence, or sometimes they try to finish the sentence, but that was it. But when we do have speakers and they're completed, I will ask if there are questions of the speaker. What I find is that very often if there are questions for the speaker, if there's something they've said that's not clear, or if there's something they've said that, you know, you'd like to kind of pursue a little bit, find out why they think that, or what evidence they have that it's true, or sometimes it's something that you like the point and you want to kind of emphasize it by kind of, you know, getting back to it with a question about it, in case some of the other commissioners were asleep when they first said it. You know, you can make sure that everyone has heard that. There's a number of ways that you can use that, the question of the speaker. And sometimes if multiple speakers are saying the same thing, you know, as part of a question, you can kind of hint that, you know, that's, you know, that we are listening, and, you know, we can, if you're not saying something new, you can just come up and agree. Time is going away. In any case, so that's one thing. The second one is when a motion is made, which I just did now, is rather than, and sometimes it's a situation where, you know, the motion is kind of obvious and we're going to pass it, and someone makes a motion, we take the vote. But I will always ask for, you know, any discussion to be had. One thing that does is, if there is going to be, people think, you know, some discussion of a matter, but someone wants to put on a motion, that's fine. And, you know, and they can make it early in the discussion or even before the discussion, perhaps just to kind of focus the discussion, and they don't have to worry, you know, about, you know, the motion just being voted on immediately and nobody, you know, having a chance to really get their thoughts out. So that's the second one. So I will always try to remember to ask for that. Yeah, the other thing was, and I did it tonight with regard to the public comment, it's things that are not on the agenda. It's also things that are within our jurisdiction. So if someone wants to talk about tariffs, you know, that's not really us. You know? And people do that. So, you know, well, not here so much. Other places they do that. And then I did want to also mention that we're going to have 2 vacancies, which means that a quorum is 4 of the 5 of us that will be left. I will not be here for the last meeting in May and the first meeting in June, probably. Just a fair warning on that. But all, the rest of you as well, because that means that everybody needs to be here.
I have a meeting I'm missing in May too, so
Yeah.
we need to get it to Chip so he knows these
Yep.
things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at whether we could come in on, I saw there's in there something about allowing people, commissioners to come in on Zoom for the meeting. But in order to do that, you can do that under some kind of emergency situation, which they recommend. And I was wondering whether, you know, lack of a quorum would be one of them. It turns out you can only do that if there is a quorum in the building.
Yeah.
So that's out.
There's some laws tied to that.
So we'll have to work that out. But just, yeah, be aware if you do know you're going to be away, as you and I will be, you know, let staff know as soon as you can. All right. And then I did want to comment on our soon-to-be missing commissioner. You don't know this, but we go way back, way back. It turns out we were in law school at the same time.
Wow.
And Melissa was dating one of my editors in my law journal. I think you must have visited one time or two while we were there. So I think we actually did meet, but mostly we just heard from Robert that there was this really wonderful girl that, you know, and he was on about her so often and so glowingly that we just designated her as the lovely and talented Melissa. We just referred to her that way. I don't think I ever learned your last name, which was okay because she married Robert and we got Ward, so that was fine. We knew his. In any case, and I want to make sure that you understand that the fact that we were in law school at the same time does not mean that she's as old as I am. It means I'm as young as she is.
There you go.
In any case, I did give her some advice when I found this out this morning. And that was that, take a year before you volunteer for anything new. Let your life kind of, get settled around you and deal with it. Advice that I am not usually taking myself. But I did have a small parting gift, which I got off the internet today. It's the Alameda City volunteer opportunities. So when you do decide to do that, you can join their Civil Service Commission, their Commission on Persons with Disabilities, the Golf Commission, Historical Advisory Board, the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, the Library Board, the Open Government Commission, the Pension Board, the Planning Board. I've done that already. Public Art Commission, the Public Utilities Board, the Recreation and Parks Commission, the Social Service Human Relations Board, Transportation Commission, or the Alameda County Mosquito Abatement Board. So if you pass that down. Put that in the file. If you want to get in with the mosquitoes, I know a guy who's been that for about 2 decades. Really loves it. So, yes, we will miss you. We wish you very well in Alameda, and come back and visit sometime. Commissioner Klopp.
And thank you for your service.
Commissioner Needy.
And thank you for pioneering having the femaleness around here.
I wasn't the first, we'll say, but thank you. I would like to say a few words, and thank you for indulging me here. I first moved to Walnut Creek in March of 2001 when I was more than 7 months pregnant with my youngest daughter, Josephine. And her sister Katie and brother Matthew were only 5 and almost 3 at that point, so it was a busy time. And we had a really amazing life in Walnut Creek. The kids went to Seven Hills School near Heather Farm for many, many years, and we enjoyed Walnut Creek very much. There's so much, we know, it's so great, right? Hiking and playing in the parks, the exceptional recreational facilities, and I have to say I went to probably 1 million youth swim meets, basketball, baseball games, you name it. We didn't play soccer. That was the only thing we missed out on, but all the rest we hit pretty hard. The Lesher Center is just an exceptional arts facility, and I really have loved playing cello at the Diablo Symphony there. I'm going to miss that. And, of course, just the best shopping and dining downtown that you could have in a town this size. It's really exceptional. I also worked for several Walnut Creek-based law firms here and really appreciated the opportunity to be able to work in the place that I lived and played too, and I think that was incredible. In fact, I thought I'd really be here forever. But then I met Mike, and yes, we're moving to Alameda to start our life together. So leaving Walnut Creek after this long, almost 24 years, is really very bittersweet for me because I'm really going to miss it. But I want to say it's truly been an honor and a privilege to serve the people of Walnut Creek. I was a transportation commissioner alongside Ken here for 6 years, and now I've been planning commissioner for almost 5.5. So it's been a lot of service on commissions, and I really believe that you can affect incredible positive change in working at the local government level more than any other level of government. And I think we've seen this in action. We've worked together to make our streets safer, to make this community greener, more environmentally aware. We tried very hard to be welcoming to all kinds of people of different backgrounds and resources in the community. And we've promoted generally, I think, healthy families, successful businesses, and just a connected and happy community. And I'm really proud of the work that we do. Making that happen, because it doesn't just happen accidentally, I don't think. I'm really proud of the thoughtful new developments that we have approved so that more housing can become available to people who want to live in Walnut Creek, because we don't have enough of it, obviously. I'm really proud of the business partnerships we forged and cooperating with the amazing city staff that we get to work with, the police department, and also the residents of Walnut Creek who at least occasionally come out and give us their opinions on everything from housing plans to bike lanes to cannabis dispensaries, chicken restaurants, and of course, as we recently saw, the benefits of pickleball. So it's just the variety of things that we get to consider, and it has been exceptional, and I really have enjoyed that. So I want to thank particularly the city council, the city staff, and all my fellow commissioners for all of the support and help over the years. It's been amazing. I'm really going to miss working with all of you, and I'm going to miss Walnut Creek very much. So thank you again for the honor and privilege of serving this community. I really appreciate it. So,
Thank you both.
yeah. I said I wasn't going to cry, but here I am. So anyway.
We do have
Thank
two
you.
more items real quickly.
All right.
Commissioner member and staff reports. Any staff reports?
Yes, I have a couple things to mention. There's a merit chair meeting coming up Friday, April 18th at 7:30. There will be breakfast. So the two of you are
And
invited.
Others are invited. I've showed up just for breakfast, and that's fine.
And also, going over the calendar, we have an item on April 24th for the Planning Commission will see if they can confirm that the proposed CIP is general plan conforming. I don't have anything else right now, but we're looking at something for June 12th. Did I hear that there's some May absences?
I'll be gone probably the second meeting in May.
The 22nd, for the 22nd meeting?
I probably will be.
Okay,
And I'll be gone the 8th.
8th, okay.
Of May?
I don't think I can zoom in from Prague.
Well, you could, but not legally. You know. Technically, you
Anybody else see themselves missing meetings?
Yeah, I'll be missing the 12th of June.
Me too,
Pardon?
me too,
June?
of June 12th,
Okay.
I know.
I'll probably be back, but not necessarily. It's probably,
Will we have 4 for June 12th?
doesn't look like it. You might have 2 or 3.
We will not have 4 for, raise your hand if you will not be here on June 12th. It's not clear to me yet. Okay, yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you for that. That's all I got.
That's what you got? Okay. Any commissioner reports? With that, we move on to item 7, adjournment. And then we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Okay.